Good morning from the farm. Today is November 1st, so happy feast, solemnity of All Saints. Sunday morning, and I wanted to get another video going and keep momentum so I don't lose momentum in this series, keep uploading them. But since it is the morning and on a Sunday everybody's up, it's pretty noisy in the house, and I decided to come out here. It's beautiful anyway. It's a little bit gray and overcast, but it's a beautiful day just the same. So this is number 4 in this series of videos about James B. Stinson's book, Successful Fathers. And this is point number 4 in the book. In the end of the book, I should say, not in the book. There's several sections, and this is just the last section on successful fathers today. So number 4. Successful fathers frequently discuss things with their children. Gonna hear the roosters outside this morning. Noisy inside, roosters outside. Successful fathers frequently discuss things with their children. Conversation is the most common leisure activity at home, and this is what he again finds when he would visit with the families of the young people that he worked with that he thought were just such terrific kids, is that when he would go to their homes and talk with them, he would find that one of the common traits in these homes was that conversation is the most common leisure activity at home. And I have to say, in this contemporary age, I don't know how true that is in so many homes. And I think we could easily imagine a time in history where conversation was the only leisure activity at home, aside perhaps from reading. That with the increase of technology in our world, radio first and then television, and of course the telephone comes into the home, that people are able to talk to people outside the home, and then go from there to computers and tablets and phones, etc. And in our modern homes, where everybody has their own room and perhaps has their own electronic devices in their room, we can all, and this is not just to say children, but adults can disappear into their spaces with their technology, and children can disappear into theirs with their technology, and you start to have the fragmenting, the dissolution of the family unit, and conversation simply goes away. So again, conversation is the most common leisure activity at home. Fathers talk about their own childhood and family life, their job responsibilities, their courtship of mom, their worries and concerns, their past mistakes and hilarious blunders, their relationships with people whom they admire. That's an important one. Their opinions and convictions, and so on through the range of their mind. They talk about grandparents, forebears, and family honor. This does not mean that they bore their children or impose their viewpoints. Sometimes the children, especially in early adolescence, don't want to talk at all. But they're patient and wait for an opening. As a result of this conversation, the children come to know their father's mind inside and out. Over time, they come to respect his experience and judgment. So this is I think a pretty self-explanatory section in this book, but an important one. Do we spend time in conversation with our children? Are we so busy with the things of our contemporary age that the leisure, the moments of leisure in which we would sit around as a family or with our children and have conversations, are those lost? So, well, the roosters are really worked up at the moment. Take the time. Find the time. Be patient and find those moments. Perhaps it's a car ride where we turn off the radio or turn down the radio, or you're listening to a certain thing, maybe that prompts a conversation, an opportunity for one to share their views. Again, not to impose, but to share their thoughts and reflections on something. But also just to around the dinner table or after dinner. And again, that's another place where in our with modern family life, I don't know, because for us, we always eat dinner together. That is a rule. Heard a great one of my favorite songs right now is "We Don't Eat" by James Vincent McMorrow. But the line "We don't eat until your father's at the table" that is in that song is an important one, and it's certainly true here that we don't eat until everyone is at the table, not just me, but everyone. But as we've heard frequently is that this is a place where families do not eat meals together, or so we hear. I don't know that, but we hear that in the media, that this is a place of the breakdown of the family, as everybody goes their own separate ways. We don't cook meals together. We don't share meals together with, again, technology, microwaves, things like that, or simply stopping on the way home to grab fast food. People come home and they immediately go to their separate spaces, so conversation doesn't happen. So perhaps one of the simplest and easiest things to begin conversation is to stop, to eat a meal together, and then to linger at the table and have conversation. Don't immediately have the urge to get up, clean, and move on to the next thing, but to occasionally rest and communicate as a family, and to talk about the joys of the day, the challenges, what people may have learned in school, or events that have happened. And you hear, and you learn from your own children. This is a two-way street, right? Children have the opportunity to hear about our life and to understand our mind inside and out, which will help to form them and for them to perhaps gain more respect that we are human. We weren't always adults. We weren't always fathers. That we too once were kids, and we also made mistakes and did perhaps some dumb things, and to talk about the great mentors in our life, the people who affected us and helped shape us besides our own family. I do think of one last little story on this, that when I was in my, I think, late 20s, early 30s, had an opportunity with my father. We were sitting around again after a meal, and just started talking, and I think I shared sort of some of my frustrations about my own childhood with him, and we had kind of a moment. It was a little bit tense, but in that time to talk, which we rarely did when I was growing up, but in that moment, he shared some things about his own childhood that I didn't know, and it was not an easy life for him growing up. I'll say that. I mean, actually, when he told it, and he sort of told me the story as if it was very normal, I was sort of in shock of how dysfunctional and not normal it was. He also lost his father when he was a teenager. And so once I started really thinking about that, I realized that, God bless my dad. I think he really did the best he could, and certainly gave me a life that he didn't have. So I gained a valuable insight and a lot more respect for my own father that day in that conversation. What started out as a fairly tense conversation, it was really helpful, and he didn't tell the story in a way that was like, oh well, you think you had it bad. He actually very humbly and honestly shared some of his childhood experiences, and again, the shocker for me was he sort of relayed it as if it was very normal, and truthfully it was anything but. Spend some time, find the time to spend with your children and to talk, to build those properly ordered friendships and relationships with your children. Again, not to try and be peers with our children and be their best friends and act like them, but as Christ himself said, I have called you friends, and of course he is he is not on peer level with us. But to talk as we would others, and if we expect them, again, to go back to the second video, of are we forming young adults or are we forming children? Well, then to begin to have conversations with them that are respectful and adult, to talk about our own joys and sufferings, etc. Well, that's it. I hope this was a helpful, another helpful video. Please subscribe if you would like to this channel. Like the video. Please add comments or make comments, suggestions, things that might be good to add in this series or to do or not do. But that's it. I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time here at St. Isidore's Farm. God bless.